All right, let's talk about something called EDR, or Endpoint Detection and Response. It's one of those crucial cybersecurity tools that works behind the scenes, and if you've ever wondered what really protects your work computer from those super advanced threats, the ones you don't hear about until it's way too late, then you're in the right place. Think about it. The way we all work has totally shifted. For so many of us, the office with its protected network is a thing of the past. Now, our laptops, our phones, these are our endpoints. And they've become the #1 target for cyber attacks. They are quite literally the new frontline in a digital war. So, here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll dig into why our devices are so exposed right now. Then, we'll look at the tool we all know and, well, we know it, antivirus. We'll see where it falls short. And that's going to set the stage perfectly for EDR, where we'll see how it connects all the dots and gives us the power to not just see threats, but to actually fight back.
Yeah, for decades, companies built these digital fortresses around their offices, strong network security, firewalls, the whole deal. But with everyone working from home, from coffee shops, from anywhere, that fortress wall has basically dissolved. Your device, wherever you are, is now the perimeter, and it needs its own protection.
For years, the go-to answer for protecting our devices was antivirus, right? AV. It's a security tool we're all familiar with. You can think of it as the first line of defense, a security guard at the front door. But as we're about to see, it has some pretty major blind spots when it comes to modern attacks. And to explain this, I've got a little analogy for you. Okay, so let's imagine your computer is a big, busy airport. Traditional antivirus, that's your passport control agent. They've got a big book, a list of known criminals, and they check every single passport, or every file, against that list. If they find a match, boom, access denied. Simple. It works, but only up to a point. This method is what we call signature-based detection. But here's the problem. What if the threat is brand new and not on the list yet? Or what if a really clever attacker forges a perfect-looking passport? If their name's not on the list, traditional AV just waves them right on through. And just like that, the threat is inside the airport. So you can see why just checking signatures isn't enough anymore. Let's really drive this home by walking through a super common modern attack, a phishing attack, to see exactly where antivirus gets fooled and how a smarter solution catches the bad guy. Check this out. It's a play-by-play. Step 1. A user opens a malicious Word document. Antivirus does nothing. I mean, why would it? Word is a legitimate, trusted program. But EDR? It logs that action. Now, step 2, a hidden macro inside that doc launches PowerShell, a powerful system tool. AV is completely blind to this, but EDR sees it and immediately flags this weird behavior. Word should not be launching PowerShell. Then the attacker runs a scrambled script, injects their payload directly into memory, and finally connects to their server. At every single one of these steps, antivirus sees nothing wrong because there are no bad files to match against its list. But EDR sees the whole chain of events, the behavior, and flags every suspicious action along the way. And that whole scenario just perfectly illustrates why we need a new approach. So let's formally introduce our solution, Endpoint Detection and Response, or EDR. This is the modern tool designed to see what traditional antivirus can't. So what is EDR really? Well, let's go back to our airport. EDR isn't just the passport agent at the gate. It's a team of security officers inside the airport watching hundreds of CCTV cameras covering every terminal and hallway. It continuously watches everything happening on your device, and it analyzes all that activity to spot suspicious behavior that a simple passport check would totally miss. It all comes down to 3 main things, the 3 pillars of EDR. First is visibility. You have to be able to see everything that's happening on a device. Next is detection. You use that visibility to spot threats based on what they do, not just what they are. And finally, the really crucial part, response. You can actually take immediate action to shut an attack down. Okay, so it sounds powerful, right? But how does it actually work? I mean, how do you go from a massive flood of raw data coming from thousands of computers to a single clear alert that says, hey, we've got a problem over here. Let's follow the data. It all starts with the agent. This is just a tiny, lightweight piece of software sitting on your device. Think of it as the EDR's eyes and ears, quietly recording everything. All that data it collects, we call it telemetry, gets sent to a central console. And the console, well, that's the brain of the whole operation. It uses fancy stuff like machine learning and threat intelligence to sift through all that data, connecting the dots to find the patterns that scream cyber attack. And that word, telemetry, it's so important. It's basically the black box flight recorder for your computer. It captures everything, giving security analysts the raw material they need to piece together the full story of an attack. So, what kind of data are we talking about here? First up, process executions. EDR logs every single program that starts or stops. Why does this matter? Well, it allows the system to see when a program we trust, like Microsoft Word, suddenly does something it never normally does, like launching a command prompt. That's a huge red flag that traditional AV is completely blind to. It's also watching all the network connections, both in and out. Your computer is constantly talking to servers all over the internet. EDR keeps an eye on all that chatter to see if all of a sudden your device is trying to connect to a known malicious server in another country. It's like seeing a phone call to a known criminal. You're going to want to investigate that, right? Next, it watches for changes to things like the Windows registry. You can think of the registry as the DNA of your computer's operating system. Attackers absolutely love to tweak it to make sure their malware survives a reboot. We call this persistence, and it's a classic tactic that EDR is built to catch. And of course, it tracks file activity, creations, edits, deletions. This one is absolutely critical for stopping one of the nastiest threats out there today, ransomware. Ransomware works by scrambling thousands of your files in minutes. EDR sees that bizarre high-speed file modification behavior and can slam the brakes on it before your data is gone for good. So collecting all this data is one thing, but finding the single malicious action, that needle in a giant haystack, is the real trick. And, finding the threat is only half the battle. You have to be able to do something about it. And this is where the detection and response parts of EDR really come to life. EDR uses some seriously advanced techniques. It looks for those weird behaviors, like Word launching PowerShell. It actually learns what's normal for your computer and then flags anything that deviates from that baseline. And this last one is really cool. It maps attacker activity to the MITRE ATT&CK framework. Think of that as a giant encyclopedia of every known hacking technique. So EDR can tell an analyst not just that something is wrong, but exactly what trick the attacker is using. This right here is the game changer. EDR doesn't just raise an alarm and walk away. It's all about empowering a security analyst to take immediate action, giving them the tools to fight back from one single screen, no matter where that infected computer is in the world. And what can they do? With one click, they can isolate an infected computer from the network, containing the threat so it can't spread to other machines. They can kill a specific malicious process or quarantine a dangerous file. They can even securely connect directly to the machine to do a deep dive investigation. It completely transforms the security analyst from just a passive observer into an active defender. And that's really the bottom line here. Traditional antivirus might see a single suspicious clue, but EDR sees the entire crime scene. It connects all those little, seemingly harmless events. A file gets opened, a process starts, a network connection is made, and it weaves them all together into the complete story of the attack. So let's wrap up with one final thought. EDR isn't just a security product, it's an intelligence platform. It gives you the visibility to understand what's really happening on your network. Which leaves us with this question. What story is your data trying to tell you? And do you have the tools to actually listen?